to Before Brunch TV, a show where women are pouring into each other and then their glasses. I'm your host, Stephanie, and I'm super excited to have two amazing couples here with me today talking about couples goals. We all know relationships can be tricky, and we see this hashtag couples goals everywhere on social media. So I'd like to ask each of you, what does that mean to you, and how do y'all really feel about that hashtag?
You want to go? Wow. I guess the goal is to make sure you're staying connected. You know, you have a dream that you're trying to strive for, and you backing each other up. You know, whatever one is trying to do. And if something is going on that you have a question about, you can go to your partner and say, hey, what do you think about that? You know, before you make a major decision. So things along those lines are what I think about couples goals.
Okay, so we're supposed to be in sync, but what's funny is I guess because I'm on social media so much and I see couples goals, but I don't think every couple has the same goals. So I see pictures depicting couples goals, but I'm like, what's your household really like? So to me, couples goals could be different for everybody. It can mean something different for everyone. It just depends on how you guys, like, that's us, but that might not be everybody else.
Yeah.
So what's couples goals? And I know the pictures are always perfect, but what's really going on inside the house? So, yeah.
Good.
Well, when I see couples goals, I always wonder, what's really going on, like you said,
Right.
behind closed doors, because I think, particularly on social media, people try to put, this, pretty picture, but that's not really reality. And so I think for us, couples goals are just trying to be authentic and show people that, okay, yes, we have fun, yes, we do this, but we also argue, we don't get along, this is real life.
No, she's right on it.
This is real life, so when I think of couples goals, and my aspiration for couples goals is to show people the real side of marriage.
Yeah, I mean everything you said, and me when I see couples goals, it's a little tricky because people look at someone else's relationship and say, I want that. But it's do you really know what it took to get that?
Yeah.
Number one, that's not all there is to being a couple.
That's right.
But number two, even if that's where they are, do you want to go through everything? You don't know
Bill and Camille.
what folk went through to get to where
Right,
they are.
exactly.
You just see the end product.
Right.
It's just like production. You see the end product, but you don't see the hours that went into the smile.
Right.
So when I see couples goals, it makes me a little nervous. But my whole thing is, I want to take care of our home. I want to take care of our home, and if she's happy and she's smiling and our daughters are happy, that's our goal for our home.
But I think you said something really key, because I guess couples goals, what we're all saying, it sounds very similar, is what's your process? Like, what was the process? What did you have to go through to achieve that beautiful picture that's showing us everything? Because people aren't going to post the ugly stuff. They only post the good stuff. So how did you get there? What was your process? How did, because everybody has one.
Yeah, I think that perception is so crazy. I never forget one time I remember posting a picture of me and my husband, and it looked amazing. But I think right before that, we got to an argument. But things we can argue all the way in the car on the way there. When we show up, we unite. All smiles, back in the car everybody's been there. So why do you think people are so obsessed with making sure that their marriage is viewed as perfect?
I think not just marriage, but life. I think that the way that our society has viewed, life in general is that we have to be perfect. And we're not perfect. And I think that that's what we need to start showing people and take that pressure off, because I think that puts so much pressure, particularly on young couples, to think that, I have to have this perfect relationship. And then when things aren't perfect, then it's, then it's time for us to, get a divorce. And it's like, no, you have to work through some crap to get to where we are now. And so just to know that it just, it's a process.
But I think too, when you're talking, even if you continue to be transparent and you show, you know what, we're not really feeling it right now. Sometimes in your mind you feel like other folk will say, I knew it wasn't that good. I'm like, no, yes it is, but it's also real and authentic.
Right.
So just like there's this pretty picture, there's also the work that goes into it. So sometimes just thinking about the fact that, oh man, if I even mention that, you know what, we had a little dust up, you know, folks would say, what happened? Right. And you don't have to share your business. I thought they were this. I thought he was that. I thought she was that. Sometimes that's so exhausting, you know, that I think we as a community sometimes say, you know what, I'm not even going to go there. You know, so then all what ends up being portrayed, you know, all the Instagram photos and the Facebook stuff and, you know, all that stuff. Right. But I will say, when you talk about couples goals, I think it is important, you know, for couples to have other couples that they respect. Right. You know, I may not want everything that you have in your marriage or your relationship, but I respect who you are, what you're doing, and what you've done to get there. But I may not want to go through everything you all went through. That's not my goal. My goal is to respect who you all are as a couple. So I'll leave it there.
I think social media has created a kind of a monster because it's a perception monster. Everybody wants a certain perception on social media. That's not totally a bad thing, but on the flip side, when you have younger generations and our children and everybody looking, they're like, well, we're in the house and it wasn't quite like that. But that picture's like yellow like this and everybody's like this. It's not always like that. And I think for a healthy couple, you have to acknowledge the real stuff too. But people aren't going to put that out there. And so, well, there are some couples that do put their stuff out there, you know, a little too much. There's some people who give you their whole entire this happened, and I think that's too much. But I do think you can have a fine line. You can show where you're happy. There's opportunity when you have like-minded couples that you get together with, and you can, or even your church groups, or you're just your friends, and you're sitting around and be like, I'm telling you, woo, if I could have rolled over and just massaged his larynx last night. So, like, if you like, it's real. Like, ooh, did Kim just say that? Like, ooh, it's real. Right? I did, and it's recorded. I'm not going to do it. Just disclaimer.
Adia and Lavelle, y'all been together since like college, like your whole adult years. And Kim and Harry, this is both your second marriages. So I'd love to hear like the perspectives of how you landed here, really.
I mean, we've been together since we were 18. We've been married 21 years. So we have literally grown up together. And we're not the same at our current age as we were then. And it's been a whole period of growth. Because I'll be honest and say, there were certain things, and you know, I was like, you know, hey, but what about, you know, deals like we're not the same people, you know. But for me, it clicked when, you know, it really hit me, and God really said to me, you know, respect her, you know, and love her the way in which she needs to be loved, you know. So treat her the way you want to be treated, but love her the way she needs to be loved, you know. Again, just understanding that there are different things that she's going to need, you know. And for me, I was always doing the good stuff, what I thought was the good stuff, but it wasn't necessarily the right stuff or what she needed, you know. So there was this period of time where, you know, I was growing frustrated. I was like, yeah, I'm a good dude, and she should appreciate the fact, you know, you know, come home and the carpets, you know, they got the lines in it from the vacuum and I'm taking care of dinner, you know. And I'm thinking I'm doing all the good stuff, but that wasn't what she needed, you know. So it was like I was expecting myself from her, you know. So it wasn't until, again, over a period of years that I said, okay, wait, you know, I had to take a step back and say, okay, that's not fair to her, you know, and then really just kind of grow from there, you know. So once I started expecting Lavelle from Adia, and really started pouring into her and giving her what she needed. Okay, all right, what do you need today? And really it came down and poured into her dreams, her aspirations, and that's when everything started to click. You know, so yeah, people see, you know, who we are, you know, today, and I'm like, oh my. But trust me, whether it been spiritual, financial, every other thing you could think of that comes with marriage and dating, we've been there,
And I would say for me, because we've just, like I said, we have known each other since we were teenagers, and now we are whole grown adults in our 40s, and we're different people, and you grow differently, and sometimes you don't grow at the same point at the same time, and so it's taken some kind of we've had growing pains because of that. And I think what clicked for me really was figuring out who I was, because I couldn't be a good wife, I couldn't be a good mother if I didn't know who I was. And so I really had to put in some work on myself And then I could say, okay, I'm comfortable with who I am, and then I can give of myself to someone else. And I can really submit myself to Lavelle. And that's really what it was. And I fought that for so many years because I wasn't secure in who I was.
Well, I think it's interesting, Adia, what you just said, because all of that process we had already gone through. So after you go through a divorce, and even while, like, you start looking at yourself like, okay, what could I have done differently? Doesn't matter whose fault, but what could I have done differently? Even though I wanted to blame, and I knew there were other situations, I was like, what can I do differently? And the blessing for me was the fact that I did know, I started to learn what was good for me. What kind of person did I need for me? Which is one of the craziest things, is like, I love to laugh and have a good time. And my husband and I have known each other since I was in high school and he was in Hampton. So we've known each other for years. We never dated each other in college, but we've known each other longer than my ex-husband and I knew each other. So, and likewise for you.
Right.
And so I think the biggest lesson learned was being accountable for my stuff, what I just called my stuff. This is my stuff. But I also knew what I no longer would tolerate or want from having experienced certain things. I also had the 3 children, so we became a blended family. So 3 kids, twin boys, and how many men would say, "Oh, I'll take that on." What I found is that everything that I had prayed about, that really, I would see other, not envious of other couples, but people I'd see in church, and I'd see couples, and they came back and they were like, "Kim, you don't know what the stuff we went through." And I was like, okay. And this was while I was going through a divorce. So I was like, okay, so there were some things that I had to work on for me. It wasn't about the other person. There were things for me that I needed for me. And then that can make me a better person for whoever came in my life. We have each other's backs. We talk about things. We still get angry. It's not like everything is perfect.
Right.
But if I could say this is probably as close to perfect, and that's not an exaggeration, it's because we've both been through so much. And therefore we treat each other with respect and love, and I adore him. He's great. We don't use the word step. We don't say stepfather. It's just, and those little things mean the world to me.
Well, start off, I thought she was a snob at Hampton. Let me say that first. And
That was a get back.
yeah, that was a get back. I was gonna let that slide. But I had just come out of a divorce and a relationship. And I said, well, I'm not going to date for a while and all this stuff. And I went to an event I wasn't going to go to and saw her. And I said, oh, that's Kim. So we started talking, exchanged numbers. And she sent me an invite to a function. And I was thinking, okay, is she telling me about the function to go to it, or is she telling me to go with her? Oh, that's 2 different things.
Right.
And she said, no, to come with me. And I said, oh, okay. So we went to the event, and she I remember I was at an event, and she sent out this picture of herself, and I said, oh, if I get a chance to get with that, it's over. And I put all my thought processes into like, okay, I'm going after that. But early on though, I came out of marriage where she had kids, and I didn't want to get back in one where we had kids, and I said that early on. But God has a way of giving you something that you least expected. And I like to think that we're portraying a good role model to the kids. The boys themselves, they're in a relationship themselves. But I think for our daughter, I think to a point, whoever comes her way, they're going to have to come with
There's
it.
going to have to be
They
strong.
don't know
right.
yet, but they're going to have to come with it.
Right.
Because I think I've set such a high expectation that she's just not going to take anybody, and she shouldn't.
We didn't come together to complete each other. I don't believe that. You have to come whole and
right.
complement
That's right.
each
Yes,
other.
like in a relationship, like 2 halves don't equal a whole, like for
Exactly.
sure.
No.
I agree with the fun part. I think having fun is so important. Like people see me and my husband, like we like to laugh and joke, but like we be going through it too. Like don't
Right,
get
right.
twisted.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't know, but I'm like, I one of the whole reasons of having this conversation, like I want people to understand, like marriage isn't just always like so pretty. And I think one of the amazing things that I heard both of each of the men say is like, y'all really support your wife's dreams and you pour into them. So how important for you as the men was that, like to be like, look, I need my wife to be happy because I see so many men like they're coming in, they're making money. Like, oh, my wife should just stay home and take care of the house and just be like the maid or the help or whatever it is. So how important was it that your wife needed her own like identity?
Oh, that for us that was huge, and it didn't take me long to figure that out. Now, granted, I'm not even gonna look this way because I don't know what her face is saying right now, so I'm gonna stand on that. It didn't take me long to figure that out, but I knew from the beginning, that she is a creative being, but there are some times where it took me a while to she would bring something to me and I would totally be feeling like, yo, that's dope, that's all right. But my nonverbals didn't convey that. So I really, really, really had to take it up a level and say, when she brings you with an idea, this has to connect with this. So once I started, doing that, saying, you know what, now tell me about that again, and digging and asking more questions, because I don't ask a lot of questions. I'm a lot like my father in that, we're pretty much, in many cases, the silent type. Yeah, just kind of the silent type. I may not have had a question to ask, but the way that comes across is, he didn't care, he didn't, I'm like, no, I did care, I just didn't have a question. But now I'm like, okay, so wait, what are you thinking? When is this? When is that? And then, I see that light, come on. Because for me, I'm pretty reserved. I stay in my head a lot, and I'm usually thinking about.
She's like,
wait a minute.
I am, but however, a lot of creative juices all day, all day. So, I may go into her office, which used to be a living room, that she has totally transformed for the good of.
What you did with love.
Yes, with love.
Exactly.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But like you said, it's an investment, and it's not just investing in, her ideas, but it's an investment in, our marriage. Because I want her to know that, hey, no matter what, just like you always saying, I have your back. That's your creative vision. God didn't give it to me; He gave it to you, and I'm going to support it, no matter what.
Right. It wasn't a thought process at all. She came to me with something, and it's really automatic. She went to my office for a while, and then she got the position at the radio station. And I knew her leaving was, I would lose one of my best assets at the office, but I knew that God had something else for her. And so whenever she comes to me with something, there's been many things over the years. I don't say that in a bad way, but she has. Yeah, it's been a few things, But really though, she knows most times when she comes me something, okay, baby, all right, fine. But then I'll ask the questions later.
Come on.
But she'll get frustrated at me because I'm more two things. One, I'm about details, and two, I am showing enthusiasm because I want to rub it in the success that she's having. Mm-hmm. But at the time I asked her, she's like, well, I don't really have time to answer that question. You ask me too much. She's texting, she's emailing, or something like that. And you can't ask her, if she's doing this, you can't ask her a question. I have to wait. And when the thumbs stop, then I can ask the question.
Right. So he's like this.
Yeah, but I ask detailed questions. What did they say? Well, how much is this? Blah, blah, blah. And then she's, give me a second. And I'm like, okay, fine. But it's only because I'm not asking the question to rebuke what's going on. Right. It's more or less to enjoy the success. Mm-hmm. But she gets frustrated when I ask the question because it's like it's getting in her flow.
No, but it's fine. I think it's because
right.
He does,
and
he's reserved too. But his will come up later, and I'm like, okay, what are some of these questions will be when I first told you this? And he'll come back and be like, so. His is more of a protective stance, and I don't think he realized. It's how other people are doing business with me. I told you he's very protective. So it's like if things aren't formed right, he'll be like, well, wait a minute. When you first told me about this, you said this, this, and this. Something changed. Now what's changed? I'm like, well, I don't know. Hold on. And he's like, well, okay, I'll wait. And then I'm like, okay, let me put my phone down because that is a habit. It's not a good habit. It's a habit. So I put the phone down, and I know he's got his wheels turning. And one thing I have learned is I'm like, I got this idea, I want to jump out. Whereas he's the one that's like, okay, but this needs to happen. Make sure you dot this I, cross this T, and I'm not letting anybody screw you over. I'm not going to let anybody. So then I'm answering questions on the back end, and I do get a little bit frustrated. But
I'm with you on that. I get like I have these crazy ideas. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I have this idea of the show, and I was like, Joe, I want to do this show. This is what we're gonna do, and he's like, okay, make it happen. But like, I get frustrated sometimes when he doesn't ask questions about certain things. I'm the same way because I used to think it meant that he didn't care. But in other words, he was putting action behind it. But I think when you learn somebody's love language, I'm a words affirmation person.
Okay.
So I need to hear questions. I need to hear like positive reinforcement.
Right.
And so I think once you learn those things, it's like, oh, now I understand that communication piece. When you said, oh, I was loving her, I was doing the right thing. I was doing things, but I wasn't doing the right thing for her.
Right.
I think that's so important. And when you talk about growing together and continuing like that longevity, what are some things that y'all do to just like stay connected? I mean, there's so many distractions nowadays. Like you got social media, you got obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, you got all these different things going on, and like you're stuck at home with your spouse, like maybe going crazy or whatever it is. But you know, how do you stay connected during like these times right now?
okay, so I think
You're like, we're too connected right now.
no, actually, what's funny is everybody was complaining, and I was like, it's good. Like we enjoy our time together, and we played a game with a group of couples at an event one time, and we won. And we were one of the newest married. Like everybody else had been married for years, but we answered all the questions and stuff we had never even discussed. Like I was like, he's not gonna get that. There's nowhere in the world he's gonna get where I really, really want to go in the world. Yeah, and I go, you got it. He goes, because I know you. Like I know you. But we stay connected because one of our favorite shows, it's our reality show right now, is CNN. I'm just saying. Because we have stuff to say. It's not a reality show, but it's our kind of, like, we're talking to the TV. We're like, man, are you kidding me? Like, and just saying stuff. So we look forward to that time when he comes home and he's like, man, let me tell you what happened today. It's like talking about our day, or like, you're not gonna believe who I saw. Like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just connecting about what happened during each other's day. And we always make sure we take time to take a vacation. We enjoy football. That's one of our things. And recently I've taken up something with him that he does that I do occasionally. And it's not, my parents are going to have a fit about this. But anyway, they know. And I'll smoke a cigar.
I mean,
I was like,
I know. I'm like, my parents are going to have a believe 83 and I'm still a grown.
you gonna leave the audience hanging. Like, what you doing, rolling?
I actually I smoke cigars with my husband every now and then because he would always go out and that was how he relaxed. And I was like, well, I have a glass of wine, and I would say to you, like, you can't come in here and spend some time with your wife. Like, you gotta get outside. I would call him from the phone. I'd FaceTime him right outside. And so we have more time together, especially during this time. It's forced us to slow down because we were both always on the go, always doing something. My mother was like, do y'all sleep over there? Like, yeah, we get to sleep. Yeah, we do. But that's our time. That's how we enjoy our time, is doing things. And we go to Maryland all the time. That we did before. That was our spot. So.
We just
Good.
laugh. I mean, it's
All day, every day.
There's never a dull moment in our house. And especially with the girls, I mean, they just join right in on the shenanigans. And usually it's Lavelle leading the shenanigans. But
That's true.
I mean, just so during the like, we just found a new game, Phase 10. And so we just can't play a regular card game. We have to have a trophy. There's now a cake. And a chef's hat, apparently.
That's right.
And a salt shaker for the loser. Right? It's like,
Yeah.
so I mean, so that we just have fun, and so
No.
yeah.
No, I was gonna say too. You know, the little things matter to us. So whereas before, dinner and a movie sounds cliche, but you really start to appreciate those times. The more you get into marriage,
You better believe
you're like,
it.
wait, we're gonna go to we can go to the movie, okay? All right, let's go.
Right.
But even within the quarantine, for us, it's the little things. I'm like, oh, so you're going to Target without me? Like, hold on, let me put my shoes on. It's like, wait, what? Hold on, So the little stuff, Target or Kroger or whatever,
Suit it up.
Right.
And they'll be like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm sitting there ironing some khaki shorts, like, yo, we're going to Kroger, right? I mean, so for us, that is an entire day. That is an entire date.
But you know, I think because
Like easy,
kids are
hands
young,
down. Yeah.
that's been, I mean, I think that's just been our time. Like we enjoy like going
Yeah.
on date nights, but even before the pandemic,
Yeah, I know you
that's
laughing.
Yeah.
like when the kids were old enough
Alright,
to stay
make sure
home
you
by
leave.
themselves, and we could like go to the grocery store and make groceries like uninterrupted. And but I mean, it was just fun because we just enjoyed being around each other, and so.
Yeah.
I think that's just finding, like you said, the little things that
Yeah.
we can do together. It doesn't have to be anything grand. It doesn't have to be, a huge gesture, but just finding joy in the everyday moment.
I mean, so now I'm the dude that throws stuff in the cart. And I just like to look at her face, when we're checking out.
And the
And
kids.
she's like, where did this? And she won't say anything. She just kind of look. I was like,
Where'd that come from?
all right, got it. But then when we get home, I'll be honest with you, and I'll say to her, I'm not gonna lie, I was checking you out on aisle 9. Everything, I saw you, she's like, you did. I was like, I did. But again, you have to find those little things and the part of your day, because otherwise you get busy, then you're tired, and you sleep, and then everything just kind of rolls from there, and then it's Sunday again, So, I mean, if it's the little things, Target, Kroger, whatever, I'm here for it.
I love
That is
And maybe we'll
Can I tell you how
get
funny
back to the movie.
that is? I don't know if we are. I don't know if we're like lost. Would you say
We're hanging out
doppelgangers?
after this.
We have to, because when you said ironing the shorts, he will tell you. When I see him iron, I'm like, where are you going? Right? What are you doing? Because I'm like, where are you going? Because shouldn't we be going to hit? Baby, I'm just going to get something done with the car, and it's not an insecurity thing. It's just like, hey, we have something going on. Yeah, like where are we going? And he's like, I'm just going. Oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
Well, I appreciate you all's conversation. I think I hope this gives people who are watching hope that, marriage is fun and you go through your ups and downs, but it's about the work that you want to put into it. And I want to leave everybody with a positive affirmation. So I gave each of you a card. See if you can read your card. Harry, we'll start with you and we'll work our way around.
Okay. I'm in control of my thoughts, feelings, and choices.
I am beautiful on the inside and out.
I am living in the present and focused on what I can control.
I am a great user of my time and talents.
And I am confident in my self-worth. So I think these are all great affirmations we can bring into our relationship. So cheers to love and happiness. And thank you all for joining me. And thank you all for watching. And you can watch this and more episodes on social media at Before Brunch TV. We'll see you next time.